my gentle Westmoreland.
My liege, a post from Wales loaden with heavy news, whose worst was that the noble Mortimer, leading the men of Herefordshire to fight against the irregular and wild Glendower, was by the rude hands of that Welshman taken. Yet, even more and unwelcome news came from the north. The gallant Hotspur there, young Harry Percy, and the Earl of Douglas, that ever valiant and approved Scot, at Holmdon met, where they did spend a sad and bloody hour. By discharge of their artillery in shape of likelihood, the news was told. For he that brought them, in the very heat and pride of their contention, did take horse, uncertain of the issue anyway.
Oh, here is a dear and true industrious friend, Sir Walter Blunt, new lighted from his horse and stained with the variation of each soil from that Holmdon in the seat of ours. And he hath brought us smooth and welcome news. The Earl of Douglas is discomfited. 10,000 bold Scots and 22 knights balked in their own blood did Sir Walter see on Holmdon's plains. Of the prisoners, Hotspur took Mordick, the Earl of Fife, and the eldest son to the beaten Douglas, and the Earl of Athol of Murray, Angus, and Menteith. Oh, and is not this a honorable spoil, a gallant prize? Hawkins, is it not?
In faith, this is a conquest met for a prince.
Oh, yea, there thou makest me sad, and makest me sin in envy that my Lord Northumberland should be the father of so blessed a son whose theme is honor's tongue, whilst I, looking upon the praise of him, see riot and dishonor stain the brow of my young Harry. Oh, that it could be proofs that some night-tripping fairy exchanged in cradle clothes our children where they lie, and I would have his Percy, and he my Plantagenet, and I'd have his Harry, and he'd have mine. Oh, but let them from our thoughts. What do you think, 'cause of this young Percy's pride, of the prisoners that he hath in this adventure surprised, of his own use, he keeps, and informs me that I shall have none but Mordick, the Earl of Fife.
This is his uncle's teaching. This is Worcester, malevolent to you in all aspects, which makes him prune himself and bristle up the crest of youth against your dignity.
I have sent for him to answer this. Cousin, next our council will be at Windsor. So, inform the lords.
I will, my liege.
Nobody has died what's the word? I
Hal! What time of day is it, lad?
What the devil hast thou to do with the time of the day? Unless hours were cups of slack, minutes capons, clocks the tongues of gods, dials the signs of leaping houses, and the blessed sun himself a fair wench in flame-colored taffeta, I see no reason why thou shouldst be so superfluous to demand the time of the day.
Indeed, you come near me now, Hal, for we that take purses go by the moon and the 7 stars. And prithee, sweet wag, when thou art king, let not us that are squires to the night's body be called thieves of the day's beauty. No, let us be Diana's foresters, gentlemen of the shade, minions of the moon, and let men say we be men of good government, being governed as the sea is by our noble and chaste mistress, the moon, under whose countenance we steal.
Thou sayest well, and it holds well, too, for the fortunes of us that are the moon's men doth ebb and flow like the sea, being governed as the sea is by the moon. As for proof now, a purse of gold, most resolutely snatched on Monday night and most dissolutely spent on Tuesday morning. Bought with swearing lay by and spent with crying bring in. Now in as low an ebb as the foot of the ladder, and by in as high a flow as the ridge of the gallows.
By the Lord, thou sayest true, lad. And is not my hostess of the tavern a most sweet wench?
Why, what a pox have I to do with my hostess of the tavern?
Well, thou hast called her to a reckoning many a time and oft.
Did I ever call for thee to pay thy part?
Nay, I'll give thee thy due. Thou hast paid all there.
Yea, and elsewhere, so far as my coin would stretch, and where it would not, I have used my credit.
Aye, and so used it that were it not here apparent that thou art heir apparent. But I pray thee, wag, shall there be gallows standing in England when thou art king? Do not thou, when thou art king, hang a thief.
No, thou shalt.
Shall I? Rare. But how I would to God thou and I knew where a commodity of good names were to be bought. An old lord of the council rated me the other day in the street about you, sir. But I marked him not, yet he spoke wisely. Well, I regarded him not, but he spoke wisely and in the street, too.
Thou didst well, for wisdom cries out in the streets, and no man regards it.
Thou hast damned iteration, and could indeed seduce a saint. So, thou hast done much harm upon me, Hal. God forgive thee for it. Before I knew thee, Hal, I knew nothing. And now am I, if a man should speak truly, little better than one of the wicked. I must give o'er this life, and I will give it o'er. And I do not, I am a villain. I'll be damned for never a king's son in Christendom.
Where shall we take a purse tomorrow, Jack?
Oh, zounds! Where thou wilt, lad, and I'll make one. But I do not. Call me villain and baffle me.
I see a good amendment of life in thee, from praying to purse-taking.
Oh, Hal, 'tis my vocation, Hal. 'Tis no sin for a man to labor in his vocation. Points! If man were to be saved by merit, what hole in hell were hot enough for him? Hey! This is the most omnipotent villain ever cried stand to a true man.
Good morrow, Ned.
Good morrow, sweet Hal. What says Monsieur Remorse?
Well,
What says Sir John Sack and Sugar? Jack, how agrees the devil in thee about thy soul that thou soldest him Good Friday last for a cup of Madeira and a cold captain's leg?
Sir John stands to his word. The devil shall have his bargain, for he was never yet a breaker of proverbs. He will give the devil his due.
But, my lads, tomorrow morning by 4 o'clock, early at Gad's Hill, there are pilgrims going to Canterbury with rich offerings, and traders riding to London with fat purses. I have visitors for you all. We may do it as secure as sleep. If you will go, I will stuff your purses full of crowns. If not, tarry at home and be hanged.
Nay, hear ye, Edward. If I tarry at home and go not, I'll hang you for going.
Well, come what will, I'll tarry at home.
Oh, by the Lord, lad, I'll be a villain then when thou art king.
I care not.
Sir John, I prithee leave the prince and me alone. I shall lay such reasons down for this adventure that he shall go.
Well, God grant thee the spirit of persuasion, and him the ears of listening. Farewell.
Farewell, thou latter spring, farewell.
No, my good, sweet honey lord, ride with us tomorrow. I have a jest to execute that I cannot manage alone. Falstaff, Peto, and Bardolph shall rob those men. Yourself and I will not be there. And when they have the booty, if you and I do not rob them, cut this head off from my shoulders. The virtue of this jest will be the incomprehensible lies that this same fat rogue will tell us when we meet him at supper. What 30 at least he fought with, what wards, what blows, what extremities he endured. And in the reproof of this lives the jest.
Well, I'll go with thee. Provide us all things necessary, and meet me tomorrow night.
Farewell, my lord.
Farewell. I know you. All will a while uphold the unyoked humor of your idleness. Yet herein will I imitate the sun, who doth permit the base contagious clouds to smother up his beauty from the world, that when he please again to be himself, being wanted, he may be more wondered at by breaking through the foul and ugly mists of vapors that did seem to rankle. So, when this loose behavior I throw off, and pay the debt I never promised, by how much better than my word I am, by so much shall I falsify men's lips, and like bright metal on a sullen ground, my reformation, glittering o'er my fault, shall show more goodly and attract more eyes than that which hath no toil to set it off. I'll so offend to make offense a skill, redeeming time when men think least, I will.
My blood hath run too cold and temperate, unapt to stir at these indignities. And you have found me, for accordingly you tread upon my patience. But be sure, I will from henceforth rather be myself, mighty and to be feared.
Our house, my sovereign liege, little deserves the scourge of greatness to be used on it, and that same greatness too, which our own hands have hoped to make so portly.
My lord, Worcester, get thee gone. I see danger and disobedience in thine eye. You have good leave to leave us. If we need your use and counsel, we shall send for you. You were about to speak?
Yea, my good lord. Those prisoners in your highness's name demanded, which Harry Percy here at Holmedon took, were, as he says, not so much strength denied as is delivered to your majesty. Either envy, therefore, or misprison is guilty of this fault, and not my son.
My liege, I did deny no prisoners. But I remember when the fight was done, when I was dry with rage and extreme toil, breathless and faint, leaning upon my sword, came there a certain lord, neat and trimly dressed, fresh as a bridegroom, and his chin new reaped showed like a stubble land at harvest home. He was perfumed like a milliner, and twixt his finger and his thumb he held a pouncet box, which ever and anon he gave his nose and took it away again. And as the soldiers bore dead bodies by, he called them untaught names, unmannerly, to bring a slovenly, unhandsome course betwixt the wind and his nobility. I then, all smarting with my wounds being cold, he questioned me, amongst the rest demanded my prisoners in your majesty's behalf. To be so pestered with a popinjay, out of my grief and my impatience answered neglectingly, I know not what he should or he should not, for he made me mad to see him shine so brisk, and smell so sweet, and speak so like a waiting gentlewoman, so cowardly. And but for these vile guns, he would himself have been a soldier. And this bald, unjointed chat of his, my lord, I answered indirectly, as I said, And I beseech you, let not his report come current as an accusation betwixt my love and your high majesty.
The circumstance considered good, my lord. Our Lord Harry Percy then had said to such a person, and in such a place, at such a time, with all the rest we told may reasonably die, and never rise to do him wrong, or any way impeach what then he said. So he unsay it now.
Yet he doth deny his prisoners, with proviso and exception that we at our own charge should ransom straight his brother-in-law, the foolish Mortimer, who willingly betrayed those that he led to fight against the great magician, the damned Glendower, whose daughter, as we hear, that Earl of March, hath lately married. And shall our coffers be empty, then, to redeem a traitor home? Now! On the barren mountains let him start, for I shall never hold that man my friend, whose tongue shall ask me for 1 penny cost to ransom home the revolted Mortimer!
Revolted Mortimer! He never did fall off, my sovereign liege, but by the chance of war, to prove that true, needs no more but 1 tongue for all those wounds, those mouthed wounds which valiantly he took when on the gentle Severn sedgy bank, in single opposition hand to hand, he did confound the best part of an hour in changing argument with great Glendower. Then let him not be slandered with revolt.
Let me not hear you speak of Mortimer. Send me your prisoners with the speediest means, or you shall hear from me as will displease you. Lord Northumberland, we license your departure with your son. Send us your prisoners, or you will hear of it!
And if the devil come and roar for them, I will not send them! Speak of Mortimer, Zoons, I will speak of him. And let my soul want mercy if I do not join with him. Yea, on his part I'd empty all these veins. I'd shed my dear blood drop by drop in the dust, but I will lift the downtrodden Mortimer as high in the air as this unthankful king, as this ingrate and cankered Bolingbroke.
Brother, the king hath made your nephew mad.
Who struck this heat up after I was gone?
He will pursue them all my prisoners! And when I urged the ransom once again of my wife's brother, then his cheek looked pale, and on my face he turned an eye of death, trembling even at the name of Mortimer.
I cannot blame him. Was not he proclaimed by Richard that dead is the next of blood?
He was. I heard the proclamation.
But soft. I pray you, did King Richard then proclaim my brother, Edmund Mortimer, heir to the crown?
He did. Myself did hear it.
Nay, then I cannot blame his cousin, King, that wished him on the barren mountain starve. But shall it be that you, that set the crown upon the head of this forgetful man, you that wear the detested blot of murderous subornation, shall it be that men of your nobility and power did gage them both in an unjust behest to put down Richard that sweet, lovely rose, and plant this thorn, this canker Bolingbroke? And shall it in more shame be further spoken that you are fooled, discarded, and shook off by him for whom these shames you underwent? Yeah. No. Yet time serves wherein you may redeem your banished honors and restore yourselves to the good thoughts of the world again. Revenge the jeering and disdained contempt of this proud king, who studies day and night to answer the debt he owes to you, even with the bloody payment of your debts. Therefore, I say...
Peace, cousin, say no more.
Imagination of some great exploit drives him beyond the bounds of patience.
Good cousin, give me audience for a while.
I cry you mercy!
Those same noble Scots that are your prisoners.
I'll keep them all. By God, he shall not have a Scot of them. No, if a Scot would save his soul, he shall not. I'll keep them by this hand.
You start away and lend no ear unto my purposes. Those prisoners you shall keep.
Nay, I will. That's flat. He said he would not ransom Mortimer. Forbade my tongue to speak of Mortimer, but I will find him when he lies asleep, and in his ear I'll hollow Mortimer. Nay, I'll have a starling shall be taught to speak nothing but Mortimer, Mortimer, and give it him to keep his anger still in motion.
Hear you, cousin. Just a word.
All studies here I solemnly defy, save how to gall and pinch that Bolingbroke and that same sword and buckler, Prince of Wales.
Farewell, kinsman. I'll talk to you when you are better tempered to attend.
Why, what a wasp-stung and impatient fool art thou, to break into this woman's mood, tying thine ear to no tongue but thine own.
Good uncle, tell your tale, I've done.
Nay, if you have not to it again, we will stay your leisure.
I have done. Faith.
Then, once more to your Scottish prisoners. Deliver them up without their ransom straight, and make the Douglas son your only mean for powers in Scotland, which, for divers reasons, which I shall send you written, be assured, will easily be granted. You, my lord, your son in Scotland being thus employed, shall secretly into the bosom creep that same noble promise. Well beloved, the Archbishop of York.
It cannot choose but be a noble plot. And then the power of Scotland and of York to join with Mortimer, huh?
And so they shall.
In faith, it is exceedingly well aimed.
And 'tis no little reason bids us speed to save our heads by raising of a head. Forbear ourselves as even as we can. The king will always think him in our debt, and we think ourselves unsatisfied, till he hath found a time to pay us full. And see already how he doth begin to make us strangers to his looks of love.
He does. We'll be revenged on him.
Farewell, cousin. No further this than I by letters shall direct your people. When time is right, which will be suddenly, I'll steal to Glendower and Lord Mortimer, where you and Douglas and our powers, as I will fashion it, shall happily meet to bear our fortunes in our own strong arms, which now we hold at much uncertainty.
Farewell, good brother. We shall thrive, I trust.
Uncle, adieu. Let the hours be short. Shelter! Shelter! Points! Points! Be hanged! Points!
Peace, you fat-kidneyed rascal. What a brawling dost thou keep?
Where's Poins, Hal?
He is walked up to the top of the hill. I'll go seek him.
I am accursed to rob in that thief's company. If I travel further afoot, I shall break my wind. I have forsworn his company hourly any time these 22 years, and yet am I bewitched with the rogue's company. If the rascal had not given me poisons to make me love him, I'll be hanged. It could not be else. I have drunk poison. Poins! Hal? A plague upon you both! Bernard! Peter! I'll starve ere I'll rob a foot further. If 'twere not as good a deed as drink, to turn true man and leave these rogues, I am the veriest varlet that ever chewed with a tooth. 8 yards of uneven ground is 70 miles afoot with me, and the stony-hearted villains know it well enough. A plague on't, when thieves cannot be true one to another. Oh, a plague upon you all.
Peace, you fat guts. Lie down, lay thine ear close to the ground, and list if thou canst hear the tread of travelers.
And have ye any levers to lift me up again being down? Sblood, I'll not bear my own flesh so far afoot again for all the coin in thy father's exchequer.
Sirs, you 3 shall affront them in the narrow lane. Net Poins and I will walk lower. If they escape from your encounter, then they light on us.
How many of them there to be?
Some 8 or 10.
Zoos, will they not rob us?
What a coward, Sir John Gaunt.
Indeed, I am not John of Gaunt, thy grandfather, but yet no coward, Hal.
Well, we leave that to the proof.
Now, my masters,
Every man to his business. Stand! Down with them! Cut the you poor son! Down with them! Release them! On, done! On, bacon! On! Young men must live! Come, my masters. Oh, and the prince and Hal, be not too cowards. There's no equity stirring. There's no more valor in that point than in a wild duck. Oh,
Godwin, what geez! The thieves are all scattered. Away, good Ned! Falstaff sweats to death and lords the lean earth as he walks along. Were it not for laughing, I should pity him. On the front row.
But for mine own part, my lord, I could be well contented to be there, in the respect of the love I bear your house. He could be contented. Why is he not, then? In respect of the love he bears our house, he shows in this. He loves his own born better than he loves our house. Let me see some. The purpose you undertake is dangerous. Oh! Why, that's certain. 'Tis dangerous to take a cold, to sleep, to drink. Well, I tell you, my lord fool, out of this nettle danger we pluck this flower. Safety. The purpose you undertake is dangerous. The friends you have named uncertain. The time itself unsorted, and your whole plot too light for the counterpoise of so great an opposition. Say you so, say you so. I say unto you again, you are a shallow, cowardly hind, and you lie. By the Lord, our plot is as good a plot as ever was laid. Our friends true and constant. A good plot. Very good friends. Full of expectation. Excellent plot. Very good friends. Soon as I were by this rascal now, I could brain him with his lady's fan. Is there not my father, my uncle, and myself? Is there not Lord Edmund Mortimer and Owen Glendower? Is there not, besides, the Douglas? And have I not all their letters to meet me by the 9th of the next month, in arms, and have not some of them set forward already? We are prepared. I will set forward tonight. How now, Kate? I must leave you within these 2 hours.
Oh, my good lord, why are you thus alone? For what offense have I this fortnight been a banished woman from my Harry's bed? Oh, my sweet lord, what is it that takes me from thy pleasures and thy golden sleep? Why hast thou bent thine eyes upon the earth and started so often when thou sitst alone? Why hast thou lost the fresh blood in thy cheeks, and given my treasures and my rights of thee to thick-eyed musing and cursed melancholy? In thy faint slumbers I by thee have watched, and heard thee murmur tales of iron wars, prisoners' ransom, and of soldiers' slain, with all the currents of a heady fight. Such heavy business my lord has in hand. I must know it, else he loves me not.
What sayest thou, my lady?
Who carries you away?
Why, my horse. My love, my horse.
Out, you mad-headed ape! Even a weasel had not been dealt with such a spleen as you are tossed with. In faith, I'll know thy business, Harry, that I will. Fear my brother Mortimer doth stir about in his title, and sent for you to line about in his enterprise. But if you go
So far afoot, my love, I should be weary.
come, you parakeeto, answer me directly on to this question that I ask. In faith, I'll break thy little finger, Harry, if thou wilt not tell me all things
true.
Away, trifler! Love, I love thee not, I care for thee not, Kate. This is no world to play with mammoths and to tilt with lips. We must have bloody noses and cracked crowns.
Do you not love me? Do you not, indeed? Well, don't then. For since you love me not, I will not love myself. Do you not love me? Tell me if you speak in jest or no.
Yeah, when I am a horseback, I will swear I love thee infinitely. But, hark you, Kate, I must not have you henceforth question me. This evening must I leave you. Whither I go, thither shall you go too. Today will I set forth, tomorrow you. Will this content you, Kate?
It must, of course.
Ned, I prithee, lend me thy hand to laugh a little. I give thee this pennyworth of sugar, clapped even now into my hand by an underskinker, one that never spake other English in his life, but 8 shillings and 6 pence, and you are welcome with this shrill addition. Anon, sir. Oh, but Ned, to drive away the time till Falstaff come, I prithee, do thou stand aside while I question my puny drawer to what end he gave me the sugar, and do thou never leave calling Francis. That his tale to me may be nothing but unknown. Step aside, and I'll show thee a precedent.
Francis, thou art perfect. Francis!
Anon, sir.
Come hither, Francis.
My lord.
How long hast thou to serve, Francis?
Forsooth, 5 years, and as much as to...
Francis!
Anon, sir.
5 year, byre lady, a long lease for the clinking of pewter. But Francis, darest thou be so valiant as to play the coward with thy indenture, and show it a fair pair of heels, and run from it?
Oh, Lord, sir, I'd be sworn upon all the books in England I could find it in my heart.
Francis!
Anon, sir.
How old art thou, Francis?
Let me see. Michaelmas next, I shall be...
Francis!
Anon, sir. Pray, stay a little, my lord.
Nay, but hark you, Francis, for the sugar thou gavest me, 'twas a pennyworth, was not?
Oh, I would it have been 2.
I will give thee for it 1,000 pound. Ask me when thou wilt, and thou shalt have it.
Francis?
Anon.
Anon, Francis? No, Francis, but tomorrow, Francis. Or, Francis, a Thursday. Or, indeed, Francis, when thou wilt. But, Francis.
My lord? Francis!
Away, you rogue! Dost thou not hear them call?
Standest thou still and hearest such a calling? Look to the guests within. My lord, old Sir John and a dozen more are at the door. Shall I let them in?
Let them alone a while, and then open the door.
Anon, sir.
Sirrah, Falstaff and the rest of the thieves are at the door. Shall we be merry?
As merry as crickets.
What's o'clock, Francis? That ever this fellow should have fewer words than a parrot, and yet the son of a woman. I am not yet of Percy's mind, the Hotspur of the north. He that kills me some 6 or 7 dozen of Scots at a breakfast, washes his hands, and then says to his wife, "Fie upon this quiet life, I want work." Oh, my sweet Harry, says she, how many hast thou killed today? Some 14, says he. A trifle. I prithee, call in Falstaff. I'll play Percy, and that damned Brawn shall play his wife. Ribo, says the drunkard. Call in Ribs. Call in Tallow.
Welcome, Jack. Where hast thou been?
Plague of all cowards, say I. Hand of vengeance to with faith. Give me a cup of sack, boy. Plague of all cowards. Give me a cup of sack, you rogue. Is there no virtue extant? Oh, you rogue, there's lime in this sack, too. There's nothing but roguery to be found in villainous man. But a coward is worse than a cup of sack with lime in it. Villainous coward. Well, go thy ways, old Jack. Die when thou wilt. If manhood, good manhood, be not forgot upon the face of the earth, then am I a shot and herring. There lives not 3 good men in England unhanged, and one of them is fat and grows old.
How now, Woolsack, what mutter you?
You, a king's son. If I do not drive thee out of thy kingdom with a dagger of lath, driving thy subjects ahead of thee like a flock of wild geese, I'll never grow hair on my face more. You, Prince of Wales.
Why, you horse unround a man, what's the matter?
Are not you a coward? Answer me to that. And points there.
Zoons! You fat punch! And you call me a coward again, by the Lord, I'll stab thee!
I call thee a coward, I'll see thee damned ere I call thee a coward, but I would give £1,000 I could run as fast as thou canst. Thou art straight enough in the shoulders, you care not who sees your back. Call you that backing of your friends? Oh, plague of that backing, say I. Give me them that will face me. Give me a cup of sack. I'm a rogue if I drunk today.
Oh, villain, thy lips are scarce wiped since thou drunk'st last.
All is one for that. A plague upon all cowards, still say I.
What's the matter?
What's the matter? Oh, there be 3 of us here have ta'en £1,000 this day morning.
Where is it, Jack? Where is it?
Where is it? Taken from us it is, 100 upon poor 3 of us.
What 100, man?
Oh, I am a rogue if I were not at half sword with 12 of them 2 hours together. I have escaped by miracle. I am 8 times thrust through the doublet, 4 through the hose, my buckler cut through and through, my sword hacked like a handsaw. Ecce signum. I never dealt better since I was a man. All would not do. A plague of all cowards. Let them speak. If they speak more or less than the truth, then they are villains and the sons of darkness. Oh,
Speak, sirs. How was it?
We 3 set upon some dozen.
Oh, 16 at least, my lord.
What fought you with them all?
Oh, I know not what you call all, but if I fought not with 50 of them, I'm a bunch of radish.
Pray God you have not murdered.
Nay, that's past praying for. I have peppered 2 of them. 2, I am sure I have paid. 2 rogues in buckram suits. I tell thee what, Hal, if I tell thee a lie, spit in my face. Ha! Thus I held my point. 4 rogues in buckram let drive at me.
What for? Thou saidst but 2 even now.
4, Hal, I told thee 4.
Aye, he said 4.
These 4 came all affront and mainly thrust at me. I made me no more ado, but took all their 7 points in my target. Thus
7. Why, they were but 4 even now.
in buckram?
Aye, 4 in buckram suit.
Nay, 7 by these hilts, or I am a villain else. Dost thou hear me, Hal?
Yes, I
Do, for it's worth the listening. These 9 in buckram that I told thee
So
of
2 more already.
began to give me ground. I followed me close, came in foot and hand, and with a thought, 7 of the 11 I paid.
Monstrous, 11 buckram men grown out of 2.
But, as the devil would have it, 3 misbegotten knaves in Kendall green came at my back, for 'twas so dark, Hal, thou couldst not see thy hand.
These lions are like their father that begets them, gross as a mountain, open, palpable. Why, thou play-brained guts, thou naughty painted fool, thou whoreson, obscene, greasy tallow.
What? Art thou mad? Art thou mad? Is not the truth the truth?
Why, how couldst thou know these men in Kendall Green when it was so dark thou couldst not see thy... Come, tell us your reason. What sayest thou to this?
Come, your reason, Jack. Your reason.
We 2 saw you 3 set on 2 and were the masters of their will. Mark now how a plain tale shall put you down. Then did we 2 set on you 3 and with a word outfaced you from your prize and have it yea and could show it you here in the house. And, Falstaff, you carried your guts away as nimbly, with as quick dexterity, and roared for mercy, and still run and word as ever I heard bull. But a slave, art thou to hack thy sword as thou hast done, and then say it wasn't fight? What trick, what device, what starting all canst thou now find out to hide thee from this open and apparent shame?
Come, Jack, what trick hast thou now?
By the Lord, I knew you as well as he that made you. Why, hear ye, my masters, was for me to kill the heir apparent? Should I turn upon the true prince? No, thou knowest I am as valiant as Hercules, but beware instinct. The lion will not touch the true prince. Instinct is a great matter. I was now a coward on instinct. I shall think the better of myself and of thee during my life. I for a valiant lion, and thou for a true prince. But by the Lord, lads, I am glad you have the money. Hostess, clap to the doors. Watch tonight, pray tomorrow. Oh, gallants, lads, boys, hearts of gold, and all the titles of good fellowship come to you. What? Shall we be merry? Shall we have a play extempore?
Content, and the argument shall be thy running away.
No more of that, Hal, and thou loves me.
Marry, my lord, there's a nobleman of court at door would speak with you. He says he comes from your father?
Give him as much as will make him a royal man, and then send him back again to my mother.
What manner of man is he?
An old man.
What doth gravity out of his bed at midnight? Shall I give him his answer?
Prithee too, chap.
Oh, faith, and I'll send him packing.
Now, sirs. Fire, lady, you fought fair. So did you, Bardolph. You are lions, too. You ran away upon instinct. You will not touch the true prince, no, fie.
Faith, I ran after I saw others run.
In faith, tell me now in earnest, how came Falstaff's sword so hacked?
Why, he hacked it with his dagger, and he said he would swear truth out of England, but that he would make you believe that it was done in fight, and persuaded us to do the like.
Yea, and to tickle our noses with spear grass to make them bleed, and then beslubber our garments with it, and swear it was the blood of true men. I did that, I did not, the 7 years before. I blush to hear his monstrous devices.
Oh, villain, thou stolest a cup of sack 18 years ago, and wert taken with the manor, and ever since thou hast blushed extempore. Thou hadst fire and sword on thy side, and yet thou ranest away. What instinct had thou for it? Ah, here comes the bean jack. Here comes Barebone. How now, my sweet creature of bombast? How long is to go, Jack, since thou sawest thine own knee?
Mine own knee? Why, when I was about thy years, Hal, I was not an eagle's talon in the waist. I could have crept into any alderman's thumb ring. Plague upon sighing and grief, it blows a man up like a bladder. Ah, there's villainous news abroad. You must to the court in the morning. That same mad fellow of the north, Percy, and he of Wales that gave Mammon the bastinado and made Lucifer cuckold and swore the devil his true liegeman upon a cross of a Welsh hook. What a plague call you him?
Owen Glendower!
Owen the same, and his son-in-law Mortimer and old Northumberland, and that sprightly Scot of Scots, Douglas, he's there too. Thy father's beard has turned white with the news. But tell me, Hal, art thou not horrible afeard? Thou being the heir apparent, could the world pick thee out 3 such enemies again as that fiend Douglas, that spirit Percy, and that devil Glendower? Art thou not horribly afraid? Doth not thy blood thrill at it?
Not a whit, i' faith. I lack some of thy instinct.
Well, thou wilt be horribly chid when thou comest to thy father tomorrow. If thou lovest me, practice an answer.
Do thou stand for my father, and examine me upon the particulars of my life.
Shall I? Content. This chair shall be my state. This sword, my scepter, and this cushion, my cushion. Bring me a cup of sap to make mine eyes look red, that it may be thought I have wept, for I must speak in passion.
Well, here is my leg.
And here is my speech. Stand aside, nobility.
Oh, Jesu, this is excellent sport, to faith.
Weep not, sweet queen, for trickling tears are vain.
The father, how he holds his countenance.
For God's sake, my lords, convey my tristful queen, for tears do stop the floodgates of her eyes.
Oh, Jesu, he does it as one of these harlotry players is up for I see.
Peace, good pint pot. Peace, good tickle brains. Mwah. Now, Hal, I do not only marvel where thou spendst thy time, but also how thou art accompanied. That thou art my son, I have partly thy mother's word, partly mine own opinion, but chiefly a villainous trick of thine eye, and a foolish hanging of thy nether lip that doth convince me. If then thou be son to me, here lies the point. Why, being son to me, art thou so pointed at? Shall the blessed Son of Heaven prove a truant and eat blackberries? Psh. Shall the Son of England prove a thief and take purses? There is a thing, Harry, which thou hast often heard of, and 'tis known to many in our land, by the name of pitch. This pitch, as the ancient writers do report, doth defile. So doth the company thou keep'st. For, Harry, now I do not speak to thee in drink, but in tears. Not in pleasure, but in passion. Not in words only, but in woes also. Yet there is a virtuous man whom I have often noted in thy company, but I know not his name.
What manner of man, and like your majesty?
Oh, a goodly portly man, in faith, and a corpulent, a cheerful look, a pleasing eye, and a most noble carriage. And as I think his age, some 50, oh, by your lady inclining to 80. And now I remember me his name. It is Falstaff! If that man should be lewdly given, he deceiveth me, for Harry, I see virtue in his looks. If then the tree may be known by the fruit, as the fruit by the tree, I'll speak it peremptorily. There is virtue in that Falstaff. Him keep with. The rest banish. And tell me now, thou naughty varlet, tell me, where hast thou been this month?
Dost thou speak like a king? Do thou stand for me, and I'll play my father.
Depose me? Oh, if thou dost it, have so gravely, so majestically, both in word and matter, hang me up for a rabbit sucker.
Well, here I am sent.
And here I stand, judge my masters.
Now, Harry, whence come you?
My noble lord, please speak.
The complaints I hear of thee are grievous.
Blood, my lord, they are false.
Swearest thou? Ungracious boy, henceforth ne'er look on me. Thou art violently carried away from grace. There is a devil haunts thee, in the likeness of an old, fat man. A ton of man is thy companion. Why dost thou converse with this trunk of humors, this huge bombard of sack, this stuffed cloak bag of guts, this father ruffian, this vanity in years? Wherein is he good, but to taste sack and drink it? Wherein neat and cleanly, but to carve a capon and eat it? Wherein cunning, but in craft? Wherein crafty, but in villainy? Wherein villainous, but in all things? Wherein worthy, but in nothing?
Gosh, I would your grace would take me with you. Who means your grace?
That villainous, abominable misleader of youth, Falstaff! That old, white-bearded Satan.
Oh, my lord, the man I know.
I know thou dost.
But to say I know more harm in him than I know in myself were to say more than I know. That he is old, the more's the pity, his white hairs do witness it. But that he is, saving your reverence, a whoremaster, that I utterly deny. Oh, if sack and sugar be a fault, then God help the wicked. If to be old and merry be a sin, then many an old host that I know is damned. No, my good lord, banish Peter, banish Bardolph, banish Poins, but sweet Jack Falstaff, kind Jack Falstaff, true Jack Falstaff, valiant Jack Falstaff, and therefore all the more valiant, being as he is, old Jack Falstaff. Banish not him thy Harry's company. Banish not him thy Harry's company. Banish plump Jack and banish all the world.
I too, I will.
My lord, the sheriff with the most monstrous spot is at the door.
Don't you rogue! Play out the play. I have much to say on behalf of that Falstaff.
Oh, my lord, what's the matter? The sheriff and all the watcher at the door, they've come to search the house. Shall I let them in?
Go hide thee. Call in the sheriff. Now, Master Sheriff, what is your will with me?
First, pardon me, my lord, a
hue and cry have followed certain men unto this house.
Oh, what men?
One of them is well known, my gracious lord, a gross, fat man.
The man, I do assure you, is not here, for I myself at this time have employed him. And, Sheriff, I do engage my word to thee that I will, by tomorrow dinner time, send him to answer thee, or any man, for anything he shall be charged withal. And so, let me entreat you, leave the house.
I will, my lord. There are 2 men hath in this robbery lost 300 marks.
It may be so. If he have robbed these men, he shall be answerable. And so, farewell.
Good night, my lord.
I think it is good morning, is it not?
Indeed, my lord. I think it be 2 o'clock.
This oily rascal is known as well as Paul's. Go, call him forth.
Falstaff! Asleep and snoring like a horse.
Hark how hard he fetches breath. Search his pockets. What hast thou found?
Nothing but papers, my lord.
Let's see what they be. Read them.
Ooh, item, a capon, 2 shillings 2pence. Item, sauce, 4pence. Item, sack, 2 gallons, 5 shilling 8pence. Anchovies and sack after supper, 2 shillings 6pence. Ooh, item, bread, a halfpenny.
Oh, monstrous! But 1 halfpenny worth of bread to this intolerable deal of sack. What there is else keep close. We'll read it at more advantage. There, let him sleep till day. I'll to the court in the morning. We must all to the wars, and your place shall be honorable. I'll procure this fat rogue a charge of foot, and I know his death shall be a march of 12 score. The money shall be paid back again with advantage. And so, be with me betimes in the morning. Good morrow.
Good morrow. Good, my lord.
These promises are fair, the party sure, and our inductions full of prosperous hope.
Lord Mortimer and Cousin Glendower, will you sit down? Plague upon it, I forgot the map.
No, here it is. Sit, Cousin Percy, sit, good Cousin Hotspur, for by that name as oft as Lancaster doth speak of you. His cheek looks pale, and with a rising sigh he wisheth you in heaven.
And you in hell, as oft as he hears Owen Glendower spoke of.
I cannot blame him. At my nativity, the front of heaven was full of fiery shapes, of burning cressets, and at my birth, the frame and huge foundation of the earth shaked like a coward.
Why, so it would have done at the same season had your mother's cat but kittened, though yourself had never been born.
I say the earth did shake when I was born.
Oh, and I say the earth was not of my mind, if you suppose as fearing you it shook.
The heavens were all on fire, the earth did tremble.
Oh, then the earth trembled to see the heavens on fire, and not in fear of your nativity.
Cousin of many men, I do not bear these crossings. Give me leave to tell you once again that at my birth, the front of heaven was full of fiery shapes. The goats ran from the mountains, and the herds were strangely clamorous to the frighted fields. These signs have marked me extraordinary, and all the courses of my life do show I am not in the role of common men.
There is no man, I think, speaks better Welsh.
Please, Cousin Percy, you will make him mad.
I can call spirits from the vasty deep.
Oh, why, so can I, or so can any man. But will they come when you do call for them?
Come, no more.
Uncomfortable chat.
3 times at the right Bolingbroke made head against my bower, and thrice from the banks of Wye and Santybottom 7 have I sent him, bootless home, and to other beaten back.
Home without boots, and in foul weather too.
Come, here is the map.
Shall we divide our right according to a threefold order, 10?
The archdeacon hath divided it into 3 parts, very equally. England by Trent and Severn hitherto by south and east is to my part assigned. All westward, Wales beyond the Severn shore, and all the plentiful land within that bound, to Owen Glendower, and to you, dear coz, the remnant northward lying off from Trent. Tomorrow, cousin Percy, you and I and my good lord of Worcester shall set forth to meet your father, and the Scottish power is as appointed us at Shrewsbury. My father Glendower is not ready yet, nor shall we need his help these 14 days. Within that space you may gather together your tenants, friends, and neighbouring gentlemen.
A shorter time shall sell me to you, lords, and in my conduct shall your ladies come, from whom you now must steal and take no leave, for there would be a word of water shed upon the parting of your wives and you.
Methinks my moiety, north from Burton here, in quantity equals not one of yours. See how the river comes me cranking in and cuts me from the best of all my land. A huge half-moon, a monstrous cantle out. I'll have the river dammed up in this place here. And here the Smug and Silver Trent shall run in a new channel, fair and evenly. I shall not have it wind with such a deep indent to rob me of so rich a bottom here.
Not wind it shall, it must, you see it doth.
I'll have it so, a little charge will do it.
I'll not have it altered.
Will not you?
No, nor you shall not.
Oh, who shall say me nay?
Why, that will I.
Let me not understand you, then. Speak it in Welsh.
I can speak English, lord, as well as you. For I was trained up in the English court, where, being but young, I framed to the heart many a lovely English ditty well, and the tongue a helpful ornament. A virtue that was never seen in you.
Very, and I'm glad of it with all my heart. Oh, I had rather be a kitten and a cry, mew, than one of these same meter ballad mongers. I'd rather hear a candlestick turned or a dry wheel grate on the axle tree, and that would set my teeth. Nothing an edge, nothing so much as mincing poetry. 'Tis like the forced gait of a shuffling nag.
Come, you shall have Trent turned.
I do not care. I will give thrice so much land to any well-deserving friend. But, in the way of bargain, mark you me, I'll cavil on the 9th part of a hair. Are the indentures drawn? Shall we be gone?
The moon shines fair, you may away by night. I lease the writer, and withal, break with your wives of your departure, hence. I'm afraid my daughter will run mad so much she doted on her Mortimer.
Bye, cousin Percy, how you cross my father.
I cannot choose. Sometimes he angers me with the telling of the mole dwarf and the ant, of the dreamer Merlin and his prophecies, of a dragon and a finless fish, and of a couch-winged raven and a ramping cat, and such a deal of skimble-scamble stuff as puts me from my faith. I tell you what, he held me here at least 9 hours last night in reckoning up the several devils' names that were his lackeys. And I cried, go to, but I marked him not a word. Oh, he is as tedious as a limping horse, a railing wife. Worse than a smoky house. I had rather live with cheese and garlic and a windmill far than feed on cakes and have him talk to me in any summer house in Christendom.
Indeed, he is a worthy gentleman, exceedingly well read, profited in strange concealments, valiant as a lion, wondrous, affable, and as bountiful as mines of India, shall I tell you, cousin? He holds your temper in a high respect and curbs himself even of his natural scope when you come cross his humor. Faith, he does.
I warrant you that man is not alive, might so have tempted him as you have done, without taste of danger or reproof. But do not use it oft, let me entreat you.
In faith, my lord, you are too willful blame, and since your coming hither have done enough to put him quite besides his patience. You must needs learn, lord, to amend this fault, though sometimes it shows greatness, courage, blood, and that's the dearest grace it renders you. Yet oftentimes it doth present harsh rage, defects of manners, want of government pride, haughtiness, opinion, and disdain.
Well, then I am schooled. Good manners be your speed. Here come our wives. Let us take our leave.
This is the deadly spite that angers me. My wife can speak no English, and I know Welsh.
My daughter weeps. She'll not part with you. She'll be a soldier too, she'll to the wars.
Good father, tell her that she and my Aunt Percy shall follow in your conduct speedily.
Oh, she's desperate here. A peevish, self-willed harlotry, one that no persuasion can do good upon.
I understand thy looks, that pretty Welsh which thou flow from these swelling heavens. I too am perfect in, but for shame in such a parley I should answer thee. I understand thy kisses and thou mine, but that's a feeling disputation. But I will never be a truant love till I've learned thy language, for thy tongue makes Welsh as sweet as ditties highly penned, sung by a fair queen in a summer's bower with ravishing division to her lute.
Nay, if you melt, then she will run mad.
I'm ignorance itself in this.
She bids you on the wanton rushes to lay you down and rest your gentle head upon her lap. And she will singeth the song that pleaseth you, and on your eyelids crown the god of sleep, charming your blood with pleasing heaviness, making as a difference twixt wake and sleep, as is the difference twixt day and night, the hour before the heavenly harness team begins its golden progress towards the east.
With all my heart, I'll sit and hear her sing. By that time, our book, I think, will be drawn.
Do so, and the musicians that shall play to you hang 1,000 leagues from hence, and straight they shall be here. Sit and attend.
Come, Kate. Thou art perfect in lying down. Come, quick, quick, that I may lay my head in thy lap.
Go, go, you giddy goose.
Now I perceive the devil understands Welsh, and 'tis no marvel he is so humorous.
By Our Lady, he's a good musician. Then you should be nothing but musical, for you are altogether governed by humors. Now, lie still, you thief, and listen to the lady sing in Welsh.
I had rather hear, lady, my broch howl in Irish.
Wouldst thou have thy head broken?
No.
Then be still.
Neither, 'tis a lady's fault.
Oh, God help thee.
To the Welsh lady's bed.
What is that?
Peace. She sings. Come, Kate. I'll have your song, too.
Not mine in good sooth.
Not yours in good sooth. Heart, you swear like a comfit maker's wife. Not you in good sooth, and as true as I live, and as God shall mend me, and as sure as day, and give us such sarcenet surety for thy oaths, as if thou never walkest further than Finsbury. swear me, Kate, like the lady thou art, a good, mouth-filling oath, and leave such protest of pepper gingerbread to velvet guards and Sunday citizens. Come, sing.
I will not sing.
And the indentures be drawn all away within these 2 hours. And so, come in when you will.
Come, Lord Mortimer, you are as slow as hot Lord Percy is on fire to go. By this our book is drawn. We'll but seal and then to us immediately.
Oh, Lord, give me leave. The Prince of Wales and I must have some private conference. I know not whether God would have it so for some displeasing service I have done, that in his secret doom and out of my blood he'd breed revengement and a scourge for me. But thou dost in the passages of life make me believe that thou art for the rod of heaven and vengeance to punish me for my mistreadings.
So please your majesty,
I would I could quit all offenses with as clear excuse, as well as I am doubtless I can purge myself of many I am charged with. Yet such extenuation let me beg, for in reproof of many tales devised, which oft the ear of greatness needs must hear by smiling pickthanks and base newsmongers, I may for some things true, wherein my youth hath faulty wandered and irregular, find pardon on my true submission.
God pardon thee. Yet let me wonder, Harry, at thy affections, which do hold a wing quite from the flight of all thy ancestors. Thy place in council thou hast rudely lost, which by thy younger brother is supplied, and art almost an alien to the hearts of all the court and the princes of my blood. The hope and expectation of thy time is ruined, and the soul of every man prophetically do forethink thy fall, for thou hast lost thy princely privilege with vile participation, and not an eye is but aweary of thy common sight, save mine, which doth desire to see thee more, which now doth that I would not have it do, make blind itself with foolish tenderness.
I shall hereafter, my thrice gracious Lord, be more myself.
For all the world, as thou art to this hour, was Richard then when I from Ravensper set foot in Ravensper. And as I was then, Percy is now on my scepter and my soul to boot. He hath more interest in the state than thou, the shadow of succession. Thrice this Percy in swaddling clothes discomfited the great Douglas, ta'en him once, enlarged him, and made friend of him, to fill the mouth of deep defiance up, and shake the safety and peace of our throne. And what do you say to this? Percy, Northumberland, the Archbishop's Grace of York, Douglas Mortimer capitulate against us in our oath. And wherefore do I tell these news to thee? Why, Harry, do I tell thee of my foes, which art my nearest and dearest enemy?
Do not think so! You shall not find it so. And God, forgive them that so much have swayed your majesty's good thoughts away from me. I will redeem all this on Percy's head, and in the closing of some glorious day be bold.
tell you, I am your son. For I will wear a garment all of blood and stain my favors in a bloody mask which, washed away, shall scour my shame with it. And that shall be the day whene'er it lights this gallant Hotspur, this all-brazen knight, and your unthought of Harry chance to meet. Then will I make this northern youth exchange his glorious deeds for my indignities, or I will tear the reckoning from his heart. This, in the name of God, I promise here, and I will die 100,000 deaths ere break the smallest parcel of this vow.
100,000 rebels die in this. Thou shalt have charge and sovereign trust herein. How now, good Blunt, thy looks are full of speed.
So hath the business that I come to speak of. Lord Mortimer of Scotland hath sent word that Douglas and the English rebels met the 11th of this month at Shrewsbury. A mighty and fearful heed they are, if promises be kept on every hand, as ever offered foul play in a state.
The Earl of Westmoreland set forth today, and with him my son, Prince John of Lancaster, for this advertisement is 5 days old. Harry, on Wednesday next, thou shalt set forward, and on Thursday we ourselves will march. Away! Advantage feeds him fat, while men delay.
Am I not fallen away violently since this last action? Do I not bait? Do I not dwindle? Why, my skin hangs about me like an old lady's loose gown. I'm withered like an old apple john. Well, I will repent, and that suddenly while I'm in some liking. I shall be out of heart shortly, and then I shall have no strength to repent. And I have not forgot what the inside of a church was made of. I'm a peppercorn, a brewer's horse. The inside of a church. Company, villainous company, hath been the spoil of me.
Sir John, you are so fretful. You cannot live long.
I was as virtuously given as a gentleman need to be. Virtuous enough. Swore little. Diced not above 7 times.
Huh?
A week. Went to a bawdy house not above once in a quarter.
What?
Of an hour.
Yeah.
Paid money that I borrowed 3 or 4 times. Lived well and in good compass. And now I live out of order. Out of all compass.
Why, Sir John, you are so fat. You must needs be out of all compass.
Do thou amend thy face, and I'll amend my life. Thou art the knight of the burning lamp.
Sir John, my face does you no harm.
Nay, I'll be sworn I make as good use of it as many a man doth of a death's head or a memento mori. I never see thy face, but I think upon hellfire. How now, Dame Partlet the hen, have you inquired yet who picked my pocket?
Why, Sir John, what do you think, Sir John? Do you think I keep thieves in my house? I have searched, I have inquired. So has my husband. Man by man, boy by boy, servant by servant. A tithe of a hair was never lost in my house before.
You lie, hostess. Bardolph was shaved and lost many a hair, and I'll be sworn my pocket was picked. Go to. You are a woman. Go.
I? No, I defy thee. God's light, I was never called so in my own house before.
Go to. I know you well enough.
No, Sir John, you do not know me, Sir John. I know you, Sir John, and you owe me money, Sir John, and now you pick a quarrel to beguile me of it? I've got a dozen of shirt to your back.
Doubtless, filthy doubtless. I've given them away to bakers' wives. They have made bolters of them.
Now, as I am a true woman, all in 8 shillings an ell, you owe me money here besides, Sir John, for your diet and buy drinkings and money lunch, you £4.20.
He had his part of it. Let him pay.
Alas, he is poor as nothing.
How poor? Look upon his face. What call you rich? Let them coin his nose. Let them coin his cheeks. I'll not pay a denier. What mean you to make a younker of me? Shall I not take mine ease in mine inn, but I shall have my pocket picked? Oh, I have lost a seal ring of my grandfather's worth 40 mark.
I have heard the prince tell him, I know not how oft, that ring was copper.
Oh, the prince is a jack and a sneak up. Oh, Splud, and he were here, I would cudgel like a dog if he would say so.
My good lord, I pray you, hear me.
How now, Mistress Quickly? How doth thy husband? I know him well. He is an honest man.
Good, my lord, hear me.
Prithee, let her alone and list to me.
What sayest thou, Jack?
Oh, the other night, I fell asleep here and had my pocket picked. This house is turned bawdy house. They pick pockets.
What didst thou lose, Jack?
Oh, dost thou believe me, Hal? 3 or 4 bond worth £40 apiece, and a seal ring of my grandfather's.
Oh, a trifle, some 8-penny matter.
So I told him, my lord, and I said I heard your grace say so. And my lord, he speaks most vilely of you, like the foul-mouthed man as he is, and he said he will cudgel you.
What? He did not.
There's neither faith, truth, nor womanhood in me else.
There's no more faith in thee than in a stewed prune, and no more truth in thee than in a drawn fox. Go, you thing, go.
Thing? What thing?
What thing? Why, a thing to thank God on.
I am nothing to thank God on. I would thou shouldest know it. I am an honest man's wife, and setting thy knighthood aside, thou art a knave to call me so.
Setting thy womanhood aside, thou art a beast to say otherwise.
Say what beast, thou knave, thou?
What beast? Why, an otter.
An otter, Sir John? Why an otter?
Why, she's neither fish nor flesh. A man knows not where to have her.
Thou art unjust in saying so. Thou or any man knows where to have me, thou knave, thou.
Thou speaks true, hostess, and he slanders thee most grossly.
So he doth you, my lord, and said this other day you owed him £1,000.
Sirrah, do I owe you £1,000?
£1,000, Hal? Nay, 1,000,000. Thou owest me thy love is worth 1,000,000.
Nay, my lord, he called you Jack, and he said he would cudgel you.
I? If he said my ring was copper.
I say it is copper. Darest thou be as good as thy word now?
Why, how thou knowest as thou art, but man I dare. But as thou art a prince, I fear thee as I fear the roaring of the lion's whelp.
And why not as the lion?
The king himself is to be feared as the lion. Dost thou think I'll fear thee as I fear thy father? Nay, and I do. I pray God my girdle break.
Oh, if it should, how would thy guts fall about thy knees? But, sirrah, there is no room for faith, truth, nor honesty in this bosom of thine. It is all filled up with guts and midriff. Charge an honest woman with picking thy pocket. Why, thou whoreson, impudent embossed rascal, if there were anything in thy pocket but tavern reckonings, memorandums of bawdy houses, and 1 poor pennyworth of sugar candy to make thee long-winded. If thy pocket were enriched with any other injuries but these, I am a villain. And yet thou shalt stand to it. You will not pocket up wrong. Art thou not ashamed?
Dost thou hear, Hal? Thou knowest in the state of innocency Adam fell. What should poor Jack Falstaff do in the days of villainy? Thou seest, I have more flesh than another man, therefore more frailty. You confess, then, you picked my pocket?
It appears so by the story.
Hostess, I forgive thee. Go, make ready breakfast. Love thy husband, look to thy servants, cherish thy guests. Thou shalt find me tractable to any honest reason. Thou seest I am pacified still. Nay, prithee, be gone. Hal, to the news at court. For the robbery, lad, how is that answered?
Oh, my sweet beef, I must still be good angel to thee. The money is paid back again.
Oh, I do not like that paying back. 'Tis a double labor.
I am good friends with my father and may do anything.
Rob me the exchequer first thing thou dost, and do it with unwashed hands to...
To my lord!
I have procured thee, Jack, a charge of foot.
Oh, I would it have been of horse.
Bardolph,
My lord!
go. Bear this letter to my brother, Lord Lancaster. This to my lord of Westmoreland. Go, Pito, to horse, for thou and I have 30 miles to ride yet, ere dinner time. Jack, meet me tomorrow at the Temple Hall at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. There thou shalt know thy charge, and there receive money and order for their furniture. The land is burning. Percy stands on high, and either we or they must lower lie.
Rare words, brave world. Hostess, my breakfast come.
These letters come from your father.
Letters from him. Why comes he not himself?
He cannot come, my lord. He is grievous sick.
How can he be sick in such a justling time? Who leads his power? Under whose government come they along?
His letters bear his mind, not I, my lord.
I pray thee tell me, doth he keep his bed?
He did. 4 days ere I set forth, and upon my departure thence he was much feared by his physicians.
Would the state of time had first been whole, ere he by sickness had been visited. His health was never better worth than now.
Sick now. Drooped. Now. This sickness doth infect the very lifeblood of our enterprise. Yet doth he give us bold advertisement that with our small conjunction we should on, to see how fortune is disposed to us. For as he writes, there is no quailing now, because the king is certainly possessed of all our purposes. What say you to it?
Your father's sickness is a maim to us.
Perilous gash! A very limb lopped off!
Quality and hair of our attempt brooks no division. It will be thought by some that know not why he is away, that wisdom, loyalty, and mere dislike of our proceedings kept the Earl from hence. And to think how such an apprehension may turn the tide of fearful faction and breed a kind of question in our cause before not dreamt of.
You strain too far. It lends a luster, a more great opinion, a larger dare to our great enterprise than if the Earl were here. For one must think, if we without his help can make a head to charge against a kingdom, without and with his help, we shall return it topsy-turvy down.
As heart can think, there is not such a word spoke of in Scotland as this term of fear.
Oh, welcome, Cousin Vernon, by my soul.
Pray God my news be worth a welcome. The Earl of Westmoreland, 7,000 strong, is marching hitherwards. With him, Prince John.
No harm, what more?
And further, the king himself in person is set forth with strong and mighty preparation.
He shall be welcome too. Where is his son, the nimble-footed madcap Prince of Wales?
All furnished, all in arms, as full of spirit as the month of May, and gorgeous as the sun in midsummer. I saw young Harry with his beaver on rise from the ground like feathered Mercury, and vaulted with such ease into his seat, as if an angel dropped down to turn and wind a fiery Pegasus, to witch the world with noble horsemanship.
No more, no more. Worse than the sun in March, this praise doth nourish agues. Let them come. They come like sacrifices in their trim. And to the fire-eyed maid of smoky whorl, hot and bleeding, will we offer them. The mailed Mars shall on his altar sit up to the ears in blood. I am on fire to hear this rich reprisal is so nigh, and yet not ours. Come, let me taste my horse. Who is to bear me like a thunderbolt against the bosom of the Prince of Wales? Harry to Harry shall, hot horse to horse. meet and ne'er part till one drop down a corpse. The Glendower were come!
Ah, there is more news. I learned in Worcester as I rode along, he cannot draw his power this 14 days.
That's the worst tidings I hear of yet.
Aye, by my faith that bears a frosty sound.
How may the king's power reach unto?
230,000.
40 let it be. My father and Glendower being both away, our powers may serve us so great a day. Come, let us take a muster speedily. Doomsday is near. Die all, die merrily.
Talk not of dying.
I have misused the king's press damnably. I have got, in exchange of 150 soldiers, 300 and odd pounds. Such as indeed were never soldiers, but discarded unjust serving men, younger sons to younger brothers, revolted tapsters, all the cankers of a calm world and a long peace. Oh, no, I have seen such scarecrows, for indeed I had the most of them out of prison. Oh, there's not a shirt and a half in all my company. And the half shirt, 2 napkins tacked together.
How now, Blown Jack? How now, Quilt?
But how now, mad wag?
Tell me, Jack, whose fellows are these that come after?
Mine, Hal, mine.
I did never see such pitiful rascals.
Tut, good enough to toss. But food for powder. Food for powder. They'll fill a pit as well as better. Tush. Mortal men. Mortal men.
Aye, but Sir John, methinks they're exceeding poor and bare, too beggarly.
Faith, for their poverty, I no idea how they had that. And for their bareness, I'm sure they never learned that of me.
No, I'll be sworn, unless you call 3 fingers in the ribs bare. But Sirrah, make haste. Percy is already in the field.
We will fight with him tonight.
May not be.
You give them then advantage.
Not a whit.
Why say you so? Look they not for supply?
So do we.
But his is certain, ours is doubtful.
Good cousin, be advised. Stir not tonight.
Do not, my lord.
You do not counsel well. You speak it out of fear and a cold heart.
Do me no slander, Douglas. By my life, I hold as little counsel with weak fear as you, my lord, or any Scot that this day lives. Let it be seen tomorrow in the battle which of us fears.
Yea, or tonight.
Content.
Tonight, say I.
Come. It may not be. I wonder much, being men of such great leading as you are, that you foresee not the impediments which drag back our expedition. Certain horse of my cousin Vernon's are not yet come up. Your Uncle Worcester's horse came but today, and now their pride in mettle is asleep. Their courage with hard labor, tame and dull, that not a horse is half the half of himself.
So are the horses of the enemy in general journey baited and brought low. The best of ours are full of rest.
The number of the king exceedeth ours. For God's sake, cousin, stay, till all come in.
I come with gracious offerings from the king, if you vouchsafe me hearing and respect.
Welcome, Sir Walter Blunt. And would to God you were of our determination. Some of us love you well, and those some even envy your great deservings and good name. Because you are not of our quality, but stand against us like an enemy.
And God defend, but still I should stand so long as out of limit and true rule you stand against anointed majesty. But to my charge. The king hath sent to know the nature of your griefs, and whereupon you conjure from the breast of civil peace such bold hostility, teaching his duteous land audacious cruelty, that the king have any way your good deserts forgot, which he confesseth to be manifold.
He bid you name your griefs, and with all speed you shall have your desires, with interest, and pardon absolute for yourself, and these herein misled by your suggestion.
The king is kind, and well we know. He knows at what time to promise and when to pay. My father, my uncle, and myself did give him that same royalty he wears. And when he was not 26 strong, sick in the world's regard, wretched and low, a poor, unminded outlaw sneaking home, my father gave him welcome to the shore. And when he heard him vow and swear to God he came but to be Duke of Lancaster, to sue his livery, to beg his peace with tears of innocency and terms of zeal, my father, in kind heart and pity moved, swore him assistance and performed it too. Yet, presently, as greatness knows itself, steps me a little higher than his vow made to my father while his blood was poured.
I came not to hear this.
Then to the point! In short time after, he deposed the king. Soon after that, deprived him of his life. And in the neck of that, tasked the whole state. To make it worse, suffered Mortimer, who is, if every owner had their place, indeed his king, to be engaged in Wales, there without ransom to lie forfeited, disgraced me in my happy victories, broke oath on oath, committed wrong on wrong, and in conclusion, drove us to seek out this head of safety, and withal to pry into his title, the which we find too indirect for long continuance.
Shall I return this answer to the king?
No! Sir Walter will withdraw a while, and in the morning early mine uncle shall bring him our purposes, so farewell.
I would you would accept of grace and love.
And maybe so we shall.
Pray God you do.
How now, my Lord Worcester? 'Tis not well that you and I should meet upon such terms as now we meet. For you have deceived our trust, and made us doff our easy robes of peace, to crush our old limbs into ungentle steel.
I have not sought the day of this dislike.
You have not sought it? How comes it then?
Rebellion lay in his way, and he found it.
Peace, Jewett, peace. It pleased your majesty to turn your looks of favor from myself and all our house. And yet, I must remember you, my lord. We were the first and dearest of your friends. For you, my staff of office, did I break in Richard's time, and then you swore to us that you did nothing purposed against the state, nor claim no further than your new fallen rights, the seat of Gaunt's dukedom of Lancaster. To this, we swore our aid. But in short space it rained down fortune, showering on your head, and such a flood of greatness fell on you. What with our help, what with the absent king, you took occasion to be quickly wooed, to grip the general sway into your hand, forgot your oath to us at Doncaster. Being fed by us, you used us so, grew by our feeding to so great bulk that even our love durst not come near your sight for fear of swallowing. But with nimble wing we were enforced for safety's sake to fly out of your sight and raise this present head, whereby we stand opposed by such means as you yourself have forged against yourself, with unkind usage, dangerous countenance, and violation of all faith and troth sworn to us in your younger enterprise.
These things indeed you articulate to face the garments of rebellion with some fine color that may please the eye.
In both your armies, there is many a soul shall pay full dearly for this encounter if once they join in trial. Tell your nephew, the Prince of Wales doth join with all the world in praise of Henry Percy. By my hopes this present enterprise set off his head, I do not think a braver gentleman More active, valiant, or more valiant young, more daring or more bold is now alive to grace this latter age with noble deeds. For my part, I may speak it to my shame. I have a truant been to chivalry, and so I hear he doth account me too. Yet, this before my father's majesty, I am content that he should take the odds of his great name and estimation, and will, to save the blood on either side, try fortune with him in a single fight.
We love our people well, even those we love who are misled upon your cousin's part. And will they take our offer of grace, both he, they, you? Yay! And then every man will be friends again, and I will be his. So, tell thy cousin, and bring back word what he will do. But if he does not yield, rebuke, and dread correction wait on us.
It will not be accepted by my life. The Douglas and the Hotspur both together are confident against the world in arms.
Hence, therefore, every leader to his charge, for on their answer we shall set on them. And God befriend us, as our cause is just.
Hal, if thou seest me down in the battle, and bestride me so, 'tis a point of friendship.
Nothing but a colossus can do thee that friendship. Say thy prayers and farewell.
I would 'twere bedtime, Hal, and all well.
Why, thou always got a death.
'Tis not due yet. I would be loath to pay him before his day. What need I be so forward with him that calls not on me? 'Tis no matter. Honor pricks me on. Yea, but how if honor prick me off when I come on? How then? Can honor set to a leg? No. Or an arm? No. Or take away the grief of a wound? No. Honor hath no skill in surgery, then? No. What is honor? A word. What is in that word, honor? Air. Who have it? He that died a Wednesday. Doth he feel it? No. Doth he hear it? No. 'Tis insensible. Therefore, I'll none of it.
Oh, no! My nephew must not know, Sir Richard, the liberal and kind offer of King.
'Twere best he did.
Then are we all undone? It is not possible. It cannot be the king should keep his word in loving us. He will suspect us still and find a time to punish this offense and other faults, for treason is but trusted like the fox. Look how we can, or sad, or merrily, interpretation will misquote our looks. Therefore, good cousin, let not Harry know, in any case, the offer of the king.
Deliver what you will. I'll say 'tis so.
Uncle, what news? There is no seeming mercy in the king. Did you beg any? God forbid. I told him gently of our grievances, of his oath-breaking, which he responded thus, by now forswearing that he is forsworn. He calls us rebels, traitors, and will scourge with haughty arms this hateful name in us.
Arms, gentlemen, to arms! I will throw a brave defiance in King Henry's teeth.
The Prince of Wales stepped forth before the king, and nephew challenged you to single fight.
The quarrel lay upon our heads.
and that no man might draw short breath today but I and Harry Monmouth. Tell me, how showed his tasking? Seemed it in contempt?
No. By my soul, I never in my life did hear a challenge urged more modestly, unless a brother should a brother dare to gentle exercise in proof of arms. He gave you all the duties of a man, spoke your deservings like a chronicle, making you ever better than his praise, and, which became him like a prince indeed, he made a blushing sightle of himself, and chid his truant youth with such a grace, as if he mastered there a double spirit, one of teaching and learning instantly. If he outlive the envy of this day, England never did owe so sweet a hope, so much misconstrued in his wantonness.
Cousin. Oh. I think thou art enamored.
My lord, prepare. The king comes on apace.
Let each man do his best. And here draw I a sword, whose temper I intend to stain with the best blood I can meet withal in the adventure of this perilous day. Sound all the lofty instruments of war, and by that music let us all embrace. Before heaven to earth, some of us never shall a second time do such a courtesy.
What is thy name that in the battle thus thou crossest me? What honor dost thou seek upon my head?
No, then. My name is Douglas, and I do haunt thee in the battle buff, because some tell me thou art a king.
They tell thee true.
Boy! Yeah! Yeah!
All's done. All's won. Here breathless lies the king.
Where?
Here.
This. Douglas, no. I know this face full well. A gallant knight he was. His name was Blunt. Semblably furnished like the king himself.
Ah! Fool, go with thy soul whither it goes. The borrowed title hast thou bought too dear. Why didst thou tell me thou wert a king?
Oh, the king hath men marching in his coat.
Oh, then, by my sword, I will kill all his coat. I will murder all his wardrobe, piece by piece, until I meet the king.
Up and away! Our soldiers stand full fairly for the day.
Soft. Who are you? Oh. Sir Walter Blunt. There's honor for you. God keep lead out of me. I need no more weight than mine own bowels. I have led my ragamuffins where they are peppered. There's not 3 of my 150 left alive. Oh! 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 Oh!
What? Standest thou idle here? Lend me thy sword.
Oh, Hal, prithee, give me leave to breathe a while. The Douglas never did such deeds in arms as I have done this day. I have paid Percy
I have made him sure.
He is indeed, and living to kill thee. I prithee, lend me thy sword.
Nay, before God, Al, if Percy be alive, thou getst not my sword. But, take my pistol, if thou wilt.
Oh, give it me.
'Tis hot, there's that will sack a city.
What? Is it a time to jest and dally now?
I like not this grinning honor that Sir Walter hath. Give me life, which, if I can save, so. If not, honor comes unlooked for, and there's an end. Oh! Oh! Ah! Ah!
We breathe too long! Come, Cousin Westmoreland! Our duty this way lies! For God's sake, come!
By God, thou hast deceived me, Lancaster. I did not think thee lord of such a spirit. Before I loved thee as a brother, John, but now I do respect thee as my soul.
I saw him hold Lord Percy at the point with lustier maintenance than I would look for in such an ungrown warrior.
Oh, this boy lends mettle to us all.
Another king! They grow like Hydra's heads! I am the Douglas, fatal to all those that wear those colors on them. Who art thou that counterfeits the person of a king?
The king himself, who, Douglas, grieves at heart. So many of his shadows thou hast met, but not the very king. I will assay thee!
I fear thou art another counterfeit. And yet, thou bearest thee like a king. But mine, I am sure thou art, whoe'er thou be.
It is the Prince of Wales that threatens thee, who never promiseth what he means to pay.
Surely, my lord, how fares your grace?
Oh, thou hast redeemed thy lost opinion, and showed thou makest some tender of my life in this fair rescue that you have brought to me.
Oh God, they did me too much injury that ever said I hearkened for your death.
If I mistake not, thou art Harry Monmouth.
Thou speakst as if I would deny my name.
My name is Harry Percy.
Well, then I see a very valiant rebel of the name. I am the Prince of Wales, and think not, Percy, to share with me in glory any more. 2 stars keep not their motion in one sphere, nor can one England brook double reign of Harry Percy and the Prince of Wales.
Nor shall it, Harry. For the hour is come to end the one of us, and would to God thy name in arms were now so great as mine!
Oh, make it greater ere I part from thee, and all the budding honors on thy crest I'll crop, to make a garland for my head.
I can no longer brook thy vanities! I better brook the loss of brittle life than those proud titles thou hast won of me. They wound my thoughts worse than thy sword in my flesh. For thoughts are the slaves of life, in life's time's fool, and time takes survey of all the world. Must come to a stop. I could prophesy, but that the earthy and cold hand of death lies on my tongue. No, Percy. Thou art dust, and food for worms, brave Percy. Fare thee well, great heart. What? Old acquaintance, could not all this flesh keep in a little life? Poor Jack, farewell.
"'Twas time to counterfeit, or that hot termagant Scot had paid me Scot and lots too. Counterfeit? I lie. I am no counterfeit. To die is to be a counterfeit, for he is but the counterfeit of a man who hath not the life of a man. But to counterfeit dying when a man thereby liveth is to be no counterfeit, but the true and perfect image of life indeed. The better part of valor is discretion, in the which better part I have saved my life. Oh, swoons. I'm afraid of this gunpowder Percy, though he be dead. How if he should counterfeit too and rise? Therefore, I'll make him sure. Aye, and I'll say I killed him too. Why may he not rise as well as I? Nothing confutes me but eyes, and nobody sees me. Therefore, sirrah, and with this new wound in your thigh, come you along with me.
Come, Brother John, fall quickly as thou flesh thy maiden sword.
What's up? Whom have we here? Did you not tell me that this fat man was dead?
There is Percy. If your father would do me any honor so. If not, let him kill the next Percy himself. I look to be either Earl or Duke, I can assure thee.
Why, Percy, I killed myself, and saw thee dead.
Didst thou? Lord, Lord, how this world is given to lying. I grant you, I was down and out of breath, and so was he, but we rose both at an instant and fought a long hour by Shrewsbury clock. If I may be believed, so. If not, let them that should reward valor bear the guilt upon their own heads. I taked upon my death. I gave him this wound in the thigh. If the man were alive and would deny it, swoons, I'd make him eat a piece of my sword.
This is the strangest tale I've ever heard.
This is the strangest fellow, Brother John.
For my part, if I may do thee grace, I'll gild it with the happiest terms I have. judgment now to retreat. The day is ours. Come, brother, let us to the highest of the field to see which friends are living, who are dead.